So, that's very important to be able to hit. Because kung hindi, defend ka lang ng defend. The momentum, the advantage is onto your opponent, hindi sa'yo. But the moment you start hitting back, then the ball is on your court. Also, when you hit, 0. Okay? You don't do it with one shot. Filipinos, we're known for our generosity. So even in martial arts, you should be generous. Hindi isa lang, marami. Dapat bigay ka ng bigay. Okay? So, Mel, this is basically this is a drill of how to deal with the different angles. Okay? So what we're doing is what we call a quick reaction drill. So Mel is in fighting stance. Yan, ready na siya. Okay? And then I would attack. Okay? Control. So as you can see, every movement that I do, meron siyang parry, meron siyang shot. Okay? Okay? Kahit na mag-fake ako, there. He needs to be able to move. Okay? Okay. So again, 0. And not only that, he needs to be able to deal with left-handed opponents as well. Okay. Oh. Okay. Now, the movements na ganyan, it also is used with the knife. However, yung may knife na, that's what we call knife fighting. Okay? You're not defending anymore. Every time you defend, you should be able to utilize your own weapon para matapos yung fight. Matapos yung fight meaning, ikaw rin magka-counter ka. Okay? Single. Yeah, single lang. Yeah. So it's the same mechanics, but now he has a weapon. Okay? Okay. 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 So notice lahat ng tama niya sa akin, either the neck, center, or the sides. Okay. Yan yung areas na either ma-stop or you feel it. Sides, any part here na matamaan mo, ramdam yan. Here, of course, you get slashed in the neck, you bleed out, or pag tinamaan yung windpipe, you can't breathe. Of course, here, sinasabi nila may bone, but you can go also go under. That's why there are stabs like this, stabs like that. Okay, Carol? And then, of course, there's this type of stab, which is commonly yung tinatawag na psycho stab. Deal with it. Okay? Open. Yeah. Hit. Pakita mo impact. Yeah. Impact. Boom. Yeah. So, yun yung impact. Okay? That's the reality. So, kailangan maramdaman ng partner, nung opponent mo para tumigil. This type of attack, malakas yan compared to this. Okay? This is more, utilizes more of the length of the blade, while this is more power. Kaya nga sometimes this is called the ice pick grip, kasi yan yung pangtibag ng yelo. This is called the chopper's grip. Okay? Sa Tagalog, saksak, ganito pakal. So whether it's left or right, it's the same. You can also pakal. Okay. So the mechanics are, I deal with the knife, then I attack while angling out. Okay. See that I managed to deal with it without getting cut. Hand is bent. All I need to do now is bend. Knife is out of play. There's always also a possibility that I will able to return the attack. There, then control. Okay? So, there are certain techniques na magagawa. Unarmed versus a knife. And of course, can I borrow your knife? Stay here. Pakal ulit. If she's going pakal, there's the attack. Done. Or here. If I'm going saksak, it's the same thing. Okay. Same technique. So there are things you can do. However, better of course if longer blade. Yun nga lang, problem with this type of blade, it's just very hard to conceal. Okay? The good thing also is that if you are dealing with somebody with a knife, it's better to get a longer weapon. Babalik tayo kanina dun sa retractable baton or any wooden pipe would do. A pipe or anything na medyo may length. Okay? Any questions so far? Wala? Okay, let's move on. So, these implements are a bit lengthy. So, meron pang shorter, which is basically yung tinatawag na dulo-dulo. This is a traditional hand weapon. It's made of stick na, it's a stick na minsan ornate, minsan straight lang. And nowadays, meron ng made of plastic or hard rubber na ganito, which is a lot lighter. Now, this functions very similar to a knife, and movements are similar to empty hands and knife implement. Like Carol? Again, just like how I showed you a while ago, the weapon I always conceal. Okay? I don't want to fight. I don't want to show that I have one. Or here, or here. So I'm gonna talk to a person. I don't want to fight. Hand is extended. Ganyan, ganyan. If she decides to attack, this hand deals with the attack. She attacks. There's my weapon. Or if I'm quite far, she hits me. There. Masakit yan. Anything that would increase pressure per square inch is a good implement. It's a good weapon. Okay? Kung wala akong ganito, anong pwedeng substitute? Cellphone. As long as may hard case ka, she strikes, bam, bam, bam. Okay? She punches this way, I can jam it in their throat. Then attack the groin. Okay? Attack again. Hit her with the eye. Just don't expect na magso-survive yung cellphone nyo, ah. Kasi minsan, ini-expect na since heavily protected, you know. But if you're going to use your cellphone as a weapon, make sure na talagang handa kang palitan yan. So, this increases pressure per square inch. The good thing about this is that both ends can be used. Punch, I'm using this end. Punch again, I'm using the other end. Okay? I can use it not only to hit, but to control. Okay? Punch, boom. To control. Your opponent can become more compliant because it hurts. Again, pain is control. Punches this way, there. Okay? Easy takedown. Because it hurts. Kung wala, I need to give more force. I need to really hit her more or a pinch, which is irritating, but it also does the job. What you want to do if you're self-protecting is to inflict as much pain so that momentarily your opponent cannot think. Okay? He or she cannot think. Because once he or she cannot think, he cannot do anything. Now, minsan, baka sabihin nyo, ayoko naman manakit. Ayoko ng brutal. Pero gusto ko na meron pa rin akong pang-protect myself. Well, that's easy. You can always opt for a tactical flashlight. Which is, if you'd notice, almost same length. Okay? Normally, if you're going to use a tactical flashlight for self-protection, I would recommend two things. One, it's longer than your hand. Merong smaller, that's fine for utility. But for self-protection, you need to be able to have something that's slightly longer than your hand. 2, it has a designated button for strobe. Okay. Why is the strobe very important? Because as I said, if your opponent loses the ability to focus, then you have a split-second window of doing something. Like, normally, takot na siya. Because it's an assault in the senses. It works because your eyes are trying to figure out what's happening. What's happening around you. Parang normally when we see a light, we focus towards it. But you cannot focus because it's flashing. However, for shooters, they're trained to, by training, kaya nilang putukan ng strobe or the idea of the strobe. Kaya sometimes, when you hit with the strobe or we hit with the flashlight, you'd see people do like this. They angle out. Especially kung hindi sila sure baka shooter. But for close quarter, it's good because for flashlight, hindi mo alam, beam lang. Diba? For example, madilim, sa parking. Papunta ka sa car mo, may nakita kang gumagalaw. Flashlightan mo na agad. Sino yan? May kita mo naman kung threat or hindi eh. Kung threat, boom, attack. This is already attacking. Then, of course, kung nakita mong threat talaga, you run away the opposite direction. Mamaya mo na balikan yung car mo. Kasi may imminent threat doon. But, for example, ganito ka close. Okay, again, nasa punching range tayo. This may be too late. Or minsan, pag dito ko ginawa, pati ako nasisilaw. So, she hits. Okay? Okay? It becomes, again, a hitting implement. Okay? I can hit with this, I can hit with that. This is the standard bezel. There are some flashlights with a sharper bezel, like this. Of course, this will cut already. Problem with this type is that I think sa MRT bawal to eh. Yung overtly nakalabas. Bawal na ito eh. This one you can still commute with. Okay? So, again, it's up to you what you want to use. Ano yung implement na gusto mong gamitin. As long as, 1, yun nga, longer than your hand, 2, may designated strobe. Regardless yan kung rechargeable or battery operated. There are a lot out there, just go around, may makita kayo na can suit you. Okay? Pero ang problem kasi with this one is that, of course, tactical flashlight, just like what we're doing here, hindi siya ganun ka-obvious kasi maliwanag eh, indoors eh, araw. This is good in the evenings. However, kung umaga, what I normally like to carry is a tactical ball pen or tactical pen. So, with the tac pen, same thing. Kailangan mas mahaba sa kamay mo. And number 2, yung secure. Okay? Like this one, you just roll it para lumabas at magtago yung ballpoint. Unfortunately, yung ganitong klase, since the ballpoint is always exposed, madaling magtae. Okay? There's another pen, yung nare-retract na bubukas, just like a sign pen. That preserves the ballpoint more. However, mas ano siya, mas mahirap gamitin yung striking implement because you really need to manipulate the pen. And of course, as I said, you should be able to learn how to manipulate it, how to grab it, and where it's located. Okay? Kailangan alam mo lagi nasaan ang weapon mo. If you're carrying a weapon for everyday carry or everyday protection, then you should be able to access it and use it immediately. Bale, wala ang EDC pag nasa bag. Unless accessible sa bag. Okay? So, that's it for our, if you have any questions regarding our presentation, and with that also, we'd like to invite you to join our classes, Calis Tres Armas. We're located in For Fitness Ortigas every Wednesdays, 7 to 9 p.m. Capitol Commons Park, Estancia Mall, 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. And in Origins Athletics, San Juan, 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. Thank you very much.